in Goodwood for the 80th members meeting. Jake Hill on the far left starts from pole, and it's a very good start from Jake Hill for the Gordon Spice Trophy. He won. Not a good start for the Rover in the middle. Michael Whittaker falling back into the pack. Olivier Hart had a good start as well. He slots into second, but watch out for Rob Huff in the number 5. Red Chevy Camaro going side by side with Michael Whittaker, trying to make up for lost time as they all cleanly make their way through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, Graham Scarborough going very well in the yellow Capri, number 24. The one who went backwards was the Rover from the middle of the front row. That's gone from second to about 5th place for Michael Whittaker. The first two making a break already. Why is it the cars that crashed in qualifying are the ones that pull away? Clearly the fix has been good so far, but what you want in this is not to have anyone near you, and the first two are doing it very well. Jake Hill and Olivier Hart already on the exit of St Mary's, and the smoking Rob Huff Camaro, I think, let's have a look. Did it get up into 3rd place? It's Bastos livery, it's 5 on the door. That's the man. Last year's winner, the Oymig car, number 28, the Camaro of Jack Tetley, back down to 4th place.
All playing fairly nicely for the time being. Nicholas Padmore in the BMW further back in the pack has made up a few spots, or one spot, and going around the outside, you just saw he's in the yellow BMW. Back up front, though, chasing down Jake Hill in the lead is Whittaker Whittaker lost his Olivier Hart in the Chevy Camaro, and then Whittaker losing time, battling now with Rob Huff. Jack Tetley as well, making a good start from the 2nd row in the number 28 Chevy Camaro. He's currently in 4th spot as well, so good start, but maintains his position for the time being as we come to the end of lap 1 through the chicane. We go, all playing fairly nicely, it must be said. The number 88 of Nick Sleep in the Rover making his way steadily through, and a little manoeuvre between the two Chevys. The number 31 making its way past.
So at this early stage in the race, the grunt of the Camaro Z28s has propelled them up to the front. Wait for the Capris to start to come through, because already we heard this morning from Jack Tetley going, after 2 laps, my pedal is going to the floor. He's talking about his brake pedal. They're pushing hard at the moment, but they may yet be hampered. It's only a 20-minute race, but it could yet be a factor. But certainly the grunt of those Chevrolets has really pushed them up to the sharp end of the field. But it is a Capri that's leading. Not by much, though. Jake Hill out front.
Well, 1.3 seconds, and Rob Huff getting up into 3rd as well. This place is Jack Tetley. Huff is really hounding hard for 2nd place, for 2nd and 3rd at the moment. Here is that battle. The number 5 this is the number 31, I should say. This is over 6th and 7th, so this is Thorpe and Bryant battling it out for 6th and 7th at the moment, but Huff now still right up behind Hart, dropping back to about half a second for P2, so battles everywhere you look at the moment. The Chevy Camaro is certainly getting a good run out.
Well, they have a fabulous load of grunt to deliver. In fact, the door, the passenger's door on the number 31 Camaro, flapping in the breeze as it came down the Lavant Straight. It's the side away from us, the right-hand flank of the car, so look for that. So that's showing how much flexion's going through these cars. He's got the grunt to accelerate away. It stays true as he accelerates away, but that's a slipstream that he really wanted. He's got it going past the pits. Can he get the drag down into Madrid Corner, working hard?
Oliver Bryant is the car trying to overtake the Chevy Camaro, the 31 versus the 21. Can he go around the outside? No, he cannot. The car in front placing it exactly where he needs. Thorpe at the moment just keeping him at bay in that 31, but this battle brewing. 16.5 minutes remain, 2 laps down, and that gap at the front though between 1st and 2nd has gone down. It was over a second, it's now just 0.6 of a second, so Olivier Hart fighting back on Jake Hill in the Ford Capri.
Good thing for Olivier Hart, he's got a bit of a gap back to Rob Huff, but it's coming down. It's under a second now, so the first 3 cars cut by 1.5 seconds. The Camaro's in behind of Thorpe and Bryant. Bryant trying to get up the inside, but Thorpe in 31 holding on. That's 6th and 7th. They're fighting hard. They're certainly not saving their brakes. They're using every last bit of retardation when they just dab and try and balance the cars for the first part of Lavant.
Can they keep that up, though, over the next 15 minutes? We shall see. One of the big gainers further back in the pack was the Ford Mustang Boss. That's the number 17 car. He's made up 3 positions. That is Fred Shepherd further back. So he is now all the way up to 19th spot. So he's made up some good ground. Biggest gainer of the field so far.
Yeah, however, sadly for him, he started 7th on the grid, so he lost an awful lot of positions at the start, and then he's been fighting his way up really hard. Now, we haven't really talked too much about the number 8 Capri. That's worked his way forward. A couple of positions, that's Mike Whittaker, son of Michael. Michael is ahead of him up in 5th in that Sanyo Rover, and for the moment, delighted the battle behind him is fighting so hard. The Thorpe and Bryant tussle between the Camaros, a bit of regicide between them, but at the moment he's sitting quite pretty in the number 19 Sanya Rover in 5th place, and some of the great liveries, the Esso and Tristan Troll sponsorship as it was in period. That's car, one of the many Capris. That's car number 6, being driven very well indeed by Mark Fowler, who just loves his Capris.
Certainly is. That battle raging on for 6th and 7th between Thorpe and Bryant. As they fight, though, there is a little bit of a gap developing to the number 8 of Whittaker further back, who's heading the next gaggle of cars, which goes back to Scarborough and Waterfield, a couple of seconds behind them. So certainly big battles happening in this top 10 placing. A reminder, it's the top 15 that will go through to the final on Sunday. OK,
so we talked about the advance of Fred Shepherd in the Mustang Boss 302. Not in the top 15, he's 16th, but he's catching very tidily the car in front, which is the Capri number 7 of Alex Thistlethwaite. That's holding on for the moment, but it's a question of time, surely. But time isn't necessarily their friend. We've got 14 minutes remaining. Who's got brakes? Who's got grunt? Who's got traffic in the way?
Well, certainly Nicholas Padmore, we see in the 25 BMW 530i making its way through. That's entered by the Sadler family. He's in a little bit of a sandwich at the moment, but he's in the top 15. He's 11th right now. He's about 3.5 tenths back from Waterfield in front, but Young just behind in the number 27 in the Volvo, keeping him at bay. Padmore, though, trying to make up those positions, and I think Young is falling down the field quite dramatically by the looks of our timing screen.
Yeah, another person who could be in trouble, yes, is Waterfield, because he got the Hertz liveried Capri off the circuit, got it back on, but he had to lift when he didn't want to. He was in the top 10, he's not now. Down to 11th place, Nick Padmore just grabbed the opportunity with both hands.
Up front, Olivier Hart is still keeping that gap just below a second to Jake Hill. 4 laps passing by, 13 minutes on the clock still to run, 8 tenths the gap up front for the time being, but it's Rob Huff in 3rd place who's setting the fastest lap times at the moment, trying to catch up to that battle. In fact, he's only 3.5 tenths behind 2nd place Matt Hart, so Rob Huff not giving this one up without a fight. We'll see what the split time is when he comes to the 2nd sector, but you can see it's certainly a battle brewing. Here it is, the number 4 versus the number 5. That's handy.
Right, there have been mechanical problems. Simon Drabbles just brought his Capri into the pit lane, but Craig Davis, I noticed, set off on the green flag lap in his Mustang car number 15, but never made it round to take the start. But anyhow, that's for another time, because Jake Hill comes through, the first 3 now pulling clear, but Olivier Hart just 5 tenths of a second down, and a similar margin over Rob Huff. So it's a Capri, and then the number 4 Camaro, there it is with the repair to its tail, and then immediately getting on its tail, ever tail happy Rob Huff, loving it on, loving it all.
He really is loving it. The World Touring Car Championship from years gone by, and this is the number 17 car they're looking at. This is Shepherd, currently in 15th spot, so this is the battle to get through to the final. He's currently having a great battle with the Volvo of 27. That's Young, who has lost quite a few positions since the start of this lap. So the Volvo, unfortunately, going backwards in this race, but a Ford, a BMW, and a Volvo all involved in this great scrap, a great mixture of brands here. But it's Jake Hill under pressure up front now. Olivier Hart hasn't looked this close in quite some time. He's under at 6 tenths of a second and closing. Jake Hill leading in the Ford Capri, being chased down by the Chevy Camaro of Olivier Hart, and they've just escaped Rob Huff for the time being. But here comes Hart trying for a move round the outside. Is he going to get the grunt? Is he going to get the straight line speed? They both brake for the braking zone now, but it's Hill that manages to get deeper on the brakes. Can he keep it in? Look at the rear of that Ford Capri, just about holds it through the right-hander. That was excellent. Bravo, Hill keeps the lead for now.
Yeah, and you could just see there how much the heavier Camaros have to brake about 4 or 5 car lengths earlier as they approach Woodcote. I think there was a slight mistake from Rob Huff in the background. He's fallen off their tail. He's now got no one to confuse him. He's just got to set off after them. He almost caught them. He lost ground. But my big question is how much retardation is left on offer for the Camaro drivers. But Jake Hill, his cornering line through Woodcote was absolutely optimal to the edge, and not an inch, not a scintilla of a centimetre beyond.
He is not giving up, though. This Camaro looks like a mean machine behind the Ford Capri. He gets right up behind him. He tries to go on the right-hand side. Jake Hill defends, has to put the Camaro on the left-hand side, but still Hill's car is there through the right-hander kink. Hill is not budging. It is so tight up at front, and this is all allowing Rob Huff to just try and recover from that mistake. Can Hart find a way through? No, he can't.
touring cars, tight racing, sunshine, going slightly sideways. Yes, 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 let's have some more, and we certainly will through to the end of this one. Jake Hill, a masterclass in front. He hasn't got the grunt, he's got the precision, he's got the braking potential, but again and again out of lab, and you see the sheer force of that Chevrolet Camaro grunt pulling him past. He's going to try and do exactly as before, but with a better end. But then he's coming off the power onto the brakes. Jake Hill back in front again. He's got to think it's like the race before, the SF Edge race, handling versus sheer grunt, and the handling with the Capri, just the grunt is definitely with the Camaro in second place. David Hart, his car in with the hands of son Olivier into the bright light as they go past the pits. And Rob Huff, have you got an answer to this in the Bastos livery Camaro in third place?
Well, Rob Huff must just be sitting there hoping that one of these two makes a mistake and he can nip through, and then Olivier Hart is hoping that he has to force Jake Hill into a mistake, because as we've seen in that braking zone, the Capri just has all the supreme power, but these three are just escaping the rest of the field as well. Previous winner Jack Telley holding fourth place at the moment, is quite 10 seconds nearly detached from this spot. So the top three escaping. Rob Huff clinging on, but it's Hart versus Hill for the lead of this race. 7 laps have passed, 9 minutes remain, and well, here's the whole midfield gaggle, and that's certainly looking spicy. The Volvo, that's the number 27, and that is fighting over the top 15, and I think the Volvo missing out there.
Yeah, well, the confusing thing, I think there might be a penalty for Jack Young in the number 27 Bastos 242 Volvo, because you can see where he is on the track. He's right with number 17, but his position on the timing screens is sort of way below that, so we'll keep an eye on that. Now it's been adjusted. He's back up into 11th place, and Fred Shepherd, we saw him work the number 17 Mustang back into the top 15. It's crucial to finish in the top 15, or you don't go through to tomorrow's combined finale.
Yeah, at the moment it's Thistlethwaite and Fowler who are on the bubble in 16th and 17th right now, but that battle is tight, as is the top three. Rob Huff has closed in on Olivier Hart, and Jake Hill has escaped up the road a bit. Has Olivier Hart gone too hard too soon? Has he used a little bit too much rubber for his liking, and is now just having to look in his mirrors a little bit more than what he'd like to?
Laser focus, Rob Huff. He will put this car sideways if he feels like it. Lots of smoke now started to come out of the back. Unfortunately, the Bastos Camaro, keep an eye out on that, puffing out of the sides over the sort of fairly gnarly rear end of those big American racers, but they became hugely popular in Europe in particular. The Z28 used to have loads of them entered in the Spa 24 Hours, which was the big touring car race of the year.
They just scream America as well sometimes. They just look like American muscle machines, but of course these racing in touring car style. 7/10 the gap still out front. Rob Huff still trying to catch them further down the field, though. Battles left, right and centre.
Well, the one who's making the charge is Fred Shepherd in one of the cars from his father's garage. Bill Shepherd, just anything big with a Ford logo. And they're battling in. Number 88 is the car at the edge of the drop. It's the
Rover.
It's the Rover that won the French Touring Car Championship. But there is quite a gap back to the car in 16th. He's got 8 seconds back to the Thistlethwaite, number 7 Capri. So Alex Thistlethwaite's going to ask for a miracle to get him into the finale tomorrow. But you never know, with these cars racing so close together, one little bit of contact and it could all become very different indeed.
Absolutely. Well, we're looking at just ahead of the 15th battle. That's the number 22 car of Spears. Currently the Ford Capri in 14th, just in front of Nick Fleet, who is trying to find a way through. The last thing they want to do is take each other out and both not have a chance of racing in tomorrow's final. We've got the Heat 2, the slightly smaller engine touring car, Group 1 saloon car types, that's happening shortly after this, and the top 15 of that will also go through, so there'll be a mixture of touring car power in Sunday's final.
What does Jake Hill not want? A car in front of him. What's he got? A Rover ST1 in front of him. It's had its problems. It's nearly a lap down, and that could be critical. He has got to place his car where he possibly can. Get past the Patrick Motorsport Rover up the inside. He goes just about. Well done to the driver at the tail of the field, because that was well done by Riordan Welby. Kept out of the way, didn't compromise the race lead. The car in second, the car in third, but the Capri a little bit sideways on the exit. That means the acceleration won't be there. He already has inferior acceleration. The Camaro of Olivier Hart will come past again, but let's see when it comes to braking, who brakes first. It's Olivier Hart in the big heavy Camaro.
I'm feeling a sense of deja vu every lap that happens, and it just looks like Hart has it, and he gets a taste. The carrot is right there for the taking that has been dangled every time, but then Hill just nicks it under braking and carries on half a second the gap nearer and nearer about. So Rob Huff not able to quite find a way through either. He's closer third, but he is. This is the closest we've seen Rob Huff in quite a little while. Can he find a way through?
0.8 of a second covers the top three. 0.4 of a second between first and second. 0.3 of a second between second and third. And still the Bastos Camaro puffs out smoke. Is it bodywork rubbing, or is it the engine going, you know what, I'm not feeling entirely well?
I'm not sure. It could be from any manner of cars, but there's definitely smoke I can smell in the commentary box as well. So
that's me.
That's even Bruce. Oh, brilliant. But it is pure racing, this, and how fantastic to see these cars out in anger, as they should be. They shouldn't be locked up and kept away hidden. They should be out racing at some of these brilliant motor circuits around the country.
Right. Here, there is traffic in front again. Another Rover ST1, but being driven very well, staying hard to the left-hand side of the circuit. Doesn't interrupt the flow of the top three. I still quite fancy Rob Huff in this. He's been looking and waiting, and again, much in the SF race. Really strange to compare a race of Edwardian cars with these great touring cars from the 70s and early 80s. But again, we had Mark Walker in the Darragh, very good in the straight line. That's the equivalent of Olivier Hart. And the car with the handling, Julien Majoub. That's the equivalent of Jake Hill in the Capri. Rob Huff looking up the inside. That could be really good news for race leader Jake Hill. He needs the pressure off his tail.
This is not a Hart one either. He's been the one that's been applying the pressure in second spot, but now he has to look in his rear view mirror because Rob Huff is coming. And you said the time would pass by quick, Bruce. Less than 4 minutes remain of this race. Where has the time gone? Further back, it's the battle for the top 15 to get into the final, and it is still Sleep who holds that quite firm. 15th place, he's got 11.5 seconds back to Thistlethwaite, so he should have that one covered in the 88. But up front, it's anyone's guess right now.
Don't forget, if you finish 13th in this race, you'll start 13th in your respective field. As they get combined, you'll be down towards the tail of the field. So every place gained by any of the drivers in the top 15 will give them a little bit more of a foot up, or any place lost, again, conversely goes the opposite way. But at the moment, it's Jake Hill in the car, just passing the corner where he put it into the tyre wall when he hit oil in qualifying. And Olivier Hart, who had already gone off at Woodcote earlier in the practice session this morning, getting it right to the edge of the circuit. That was quite a recovery. Another couple of centimetres, the tyres would have been on the grass, and round he would have gone. But here comes the chance for Rob Huff, surely.
He had a much tighter line coming through there. Can he get the runs, the slipstream through the back of Hart as Jake Hill escapes up the road a bit? He tries to dart to the right, has to go to the left-hand side. They're side by side. Is this the way Rob Huff gets through for second place? It looks like he is into the braking zone. Can he hold it down? Yes, he can. Rob Huff up into second spot. Next target, Jake Hill for the lead.
I'll just wind the commentary back a lap ago. I said I think Rob Huff is going to start making the moves. He's done precisely that, but the clock is not his friend. 2.5 minutes remain in this race. So one further lap, plus a bonus lap. 2 more laps to the finish of the race. It's the first of the 2 heats for the Gordon Spice Trophy, and it's really lived up to all expectation.
But more traffic ahead, though, for Jake Hill to have to deal with. How well will this car get out of the way? Traffic's been fairly kind to our leaders so far. Will it continue to be that? It looks like it has, and that's the 43 just getting out of the way fairly nicely as well, so not too damaging. But I think Hart has managed to claw back on Huff through that little sector. Less than 2 minutes remain. Jake Hill escaping up the road, but Rob Huff is hounding him down. But we've seen this before, just with a different type of car. Under braking, Jake Hill has it.
Certainly does, but looking at the momentum that Rob Huff in the Camaro carried through Ford Water, through St Mary's, still smoking. Gosh, who knows what his gauges are telling him. It may not be a pretty story. He's got this lap and one more. There may yet be a chance for Olivier Hart, but I think it was a real case of patience from Rob Huff, and he might just try to take an attack in a different position to Olivier Hart in this challenge to the race leader Jake Hill. It's fabulous touring car racing.
Jake Hill, modern-day multiple winner in the British Touring Car Championship versus the World Touring Car Champion from 2012, Rob Huff, who is trying to find a way through under braking, almost has to nudge Jake Hill through the corner. They get so close, dips a wheel a little bit onto the grass, but stays with him through the corner, gets a little bit of a wiggle on the rear. Into the chicane we go. The whites of Jake Hill's eyes light up as he crosses the checkered flag line, but 55 seconds still remain.
Yeah, but what Jake knows, he has to get a good exit from the chicane every single time. He doesn't have the grunt of the Camaros. He's got to cover it off when he gets to Madrid. He's done the first part. The tails of those cars will come round. Huff's more. Oh, he's almost taking the paint off the back of the Capri. There's traffic up ahead. This could be very juicy. The damage on the flanks of the Capri, that was practice. The team Rick Wood's crew worked valiantly to get the car ready for this race. They'll be loving it, but also they'll be holding their breath so much.
This is not good for if you want a nice peaceful afternoon, don't want the heart rate to go up and down. No, you want that. Don't watch this, because it has absolutely spiked. But no, has traffic ruined Rob Huff's chance? And that's the 18 car, and getting out of the way is forced onto the grass, and that's the Rover of Welby getting out of the way and spinning and doing so. But Huff still right on the back. 5 seconds remain of this race, so this should be the final lap we get. Who is going to cross the finish line first? Will it be Jake Hill, who has led from pole position, or will it be Rob Huff, who started behind them but has slowly and surely made his way through? He has a little bit of grass through the kink, more traffic ahead. Rob Huff is trying to find a way through, but I think Jake Hill might have just done enough.
Well, Jake was always going to be able to brake a little bit later, but Rob Huff doing a supreme job in the Camaro. You can see some tyre tracks across the daffodils in the background. He hasn't got time to look at that. There's the BMW 530i up in front of them. It should just about get out of the way, the Mach 4 car, and it's the time for grunt to the finish line. Will there be enough for Rob Huff to pull past the Capri? It's going to be super tight. The BMW's in the way. Victory in the first heat to Jake Hill. Oh boy, for a driver who was sobbing by his own admission, having dropped the car in practice. The car was repaired, brought it through to win. Not just a win, an outstanding win against two rivals, Olivier Hart and Rob Huff, on top of their games in those mighty Camaros. Now we need, of course, to see who is going to complete the top 15. The last driver at the moment is car number 22 in 15th place, the last of the qualifiers. And look to see where the Spears can stay in that position. But well done to Jake Hill. Fabulous, fabulous racing.
That was well earned from Jake Hill, you have to say, ahead of Rob Huff and Olivier Hart. Jack Tetley, a fairly lonesome race in the end, in fourth in front of Oliver Bryant, also with a bit of a lonely race. But this should be our 15th place finisher as that gaggle of cars in the midfield pack make their way through the chicane. Scarborough, Young, Padmore, Waterfield, Sleep, and then it should be John Spears in the number 18 Rover, or in the Rover.
22, John Spears in the Capri.
Oh, sorry.
Should just complete. They shuffled around. He hasn't made it through to the finish. There was quite a gap from Sleep in the livery car. And let's just see who's next across the line. Oh, it's very tight indeed, but will it be John Spears? No. Littleswaite has got past with Ludovic Lindsay, who started stone last, just missing out, having charged from the back of the grid. So unlucky for Ludovic, the first winner of the revival back 25 years ago. And boy, what a start. It opened the floodgates, and historic racing here just gets better and better.
Well, that was only one of our Gordon Spice Trophy races. We've got another one to come shortly after this.
Well, the Camaro drivers had to save their brakes. We're going to have to save our voices. There was plenty to talk about there, and do give them a wave as they come round. They worked supremely hard, and not one of them would have been thinking, I must save a bit of the car for tomorrow. Not one. No. Well, Jake Hill had to recover quite a bit of his car after qualifying this morning, but considering they had to rebend and rebuild that Ford Capri, well, they've certainly done it to a top spec, and there he is, Jake Hill, multiple winner in the British Touring Car Championship, racing that Ford Capri, and you could see how much that means to him. You could enjoy the smile on his face just behind his helmet visor. And Rob Huff, though, pushing all the way. He held his time. He bided his time, though. Mature driving from Huff. He didn't force his way through on Hart early doors, but maybe he could have done. He almost let Hart have it. He almost let Hart have it and run out of steam a little bit. He was thinking, when do I want the most performance from my car relative to my rivals at the end of the race? That's why Rob Huff has won so many touring car titles, and a great charge to second place. Of course, we don't know the leading Capri of Jake Hill and the chasing Olivier Hart, how well their cars were handling. They were both damaged this morning, but top-level crews got them ready to come and play. And for Fred Shepherd, who started, it was way down the order. He started 7th, fell down to, I think, 19th place, got up to 8th place in the number 17.